It's busy.
A little bit, just a little bit busy.
So, Melody, tell me, where are you right now? You're at the Emergency Operations Center?
I am. I'm in my public information officer room, which is just off of the EOC. You can see the EOC through those two windows there, but it gives me a little bit of peace and quiet and the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing this afternoon.
So, Melody, tell us what is happening across the state. We're looking at the radar. We know Tropical Storm Laura is pushing in.
Right. So right now, what we're doing is we're in here. We're monitoring to kind of make sure that none of the counties need assistance. So right now, our main damage reports are trees down. Hempstead County and Ouachita County have both reported multiple trees down across the county. And the big thing we're tracking right now, which of course everyone's been talking about since this morning, especially with Louisiana, is power outages. So right now we're looking at right around 31,500 power outages.
And I'm assuming you guys are only expecting that to get worse through the night.
Well, just a couple of minutes ago, it was around just under 28,000, 27,900. So yes, I expect power outages to go up. Obviously, as Laura pushes through, we're expecting to see flash flooding, definitely see some wind damage, probably additional trees down. And then again, damage reports as they come in, we're expecting to see those begin we're expecting to get significantly more damage reports than we have now. One thing that I want to remind people, a lot of people think, well, why don't we know a lot about damage right now? Well, our reporting here at the Division of Emergency Management comes from our first responders and emergency managers on the ground at the county level. So those people are often busy taking care of the emergency, and then they go ahead and report the damages into us. And then also for people, if people sustain damage to their personal property, to their homes, make sure that you're reporting that to your local Office of Emergency Management as well, because that's the best way for us to get that information here at the Emergency Operations Center so that we can have the best picture of what's going on out there.
A lot of hands in the pot, if you want to call it that.
There are always a lot of hands in the pot. And so when that happens, that's a lot of information coming in, and it takes just a couple of minutes to deconflict that and make sure that we have the best information so that we can report that back out to everyone and give everyone a clear picture of what's going on in the state.
So we want to let folks know that they are watching live continuous coverage of this tropical storm moving through Arkansas. For those watching on Facebook Live, we are talking with Melody Daniel. She is with the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management. So if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. We'll try and relay those to Melody. I know that Melody is really an expert at all of this stuff when it comes to emergency operations, and so we'll try and relay those questions as we get through the afternoon. So Melody, what are some of, and just so you're aware, we're looking at the left-hand side, on the left-hand side of the screen, we're looking at forecasted rain totals, and it looks like just over 4 inches in Little Rock, maybe 2 or so inches in Pine Bluff area, 4 inches closer to Northeast Arkansas. When you look at these numbers from the Emergency Operations Center perspective, what is your biggest concern? Obviously, flash flooding is a concern, but what are the other concerns related to, you mix in the rain, you mix in the winds, you mix in really everything else related to this tropical storm? How does that really, what are the concerns from the Operations Center?
Well, obviously here in the state of Arkansas, our most common disaster is flooding. So one thing that obviously anytime that we're looking at a flooding event, that's one of our primary concerns, because flooding is just a vicious disaster. Water is not as forgiving as we think it is. We think water's soft, water's fun. Well, not when we're experiencing flooding. So, for us right now, our primary concerns are obviously, we don't want anyone to pass away. We don't want any deaths. So we want to prevent loss of life, and we want to conserve property as best as we can. Those are always our two top priorities in any disaster.
So we have Chad coming in, and Melody, I understand some of these questions, you're constantly getting new data, so we may not have the answer immediately. I know that Chad is asking about Fort Smith. Obviously, we know Fort Smith was impacted by a lot of flooding here over the last couple of years. Is the Emergency Operations Center concerned at all about Fort Smith?
We are concerned about all 75 counties. Right now, it looks like, especially if you go over there to our partners at the National Weather Service, you'll see where they're pushing out some of these hurricane and tropical storm warnings and whatnot earlier this morning, and I don't have it pulled up right now. You'll have to forgive me a little bit. We're dealing with some IT issues over here. In fact, your viewers might get to see my IT guy come help me out here in a second.
Hey,
with my other computers.
This is all live, so we understand that sometimes we need a little help to get to the end.
Just a little bit. It takes a team. It truly takes a team. So we're not really looking at Fort Smith as having issues, maybe with Hurricane Laura, but the northwest part of the state has had steady rain over the last couple of days, not significant amounts, but steady amount of rain for a while. And so yes, if Laura starts to affect that part of the state, or if they just get an additional completely separate rain event, then we'll shift focus there. We'll bring in additional people as we need to. Let's see.
So as Melody starts to look at some of that data, and Melody, I certainly appreciate it because I know we're asking live questions here, and we certainly appreciate your help and your time, because we also know that you're dealing with COVID-19, and that is the Emergency Operations Center being open because of COVID-19. So as we take a look at, and we wait for Melody to get some of that information, we take a look at the right-hand side of your screen. Again, those are your forecasted wind gusts. You're looking at 44 miles per hour here in Little Rock, 50 miles per hour down in Monticello, and that is a forecasted wind gust. So that is something that our meteorologists are looking at. That is actually a view of their own computer monitor as they look at some of this new data. Melody?
Yes.
So we were talking a little bit about daylight, nighttime flooding. Somebody just commented on Facebook. They said, "I'm just thankful it's daylight," and that's
yes.
a comment from Stormy. That's always a good thing, but always a good reminder that this storm is likely to last here throughout at least 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight, right?
Yes, and I believe. Hold on, I've got your Facebook Live here. I'm trying to find the comments, be able to see the comments as well.
Oh, okay, great, great.
So yeah, that'll help both of us out a little bit there. Yeah, so we're looking at having rain well into tomorrow as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think I see Jeff on here too. Jeff's definitely the expert for when the rain is supposed to stop. But yes, flooding during the overnight hours, any disaster during the nighttime hours, it's harder. It's harder to see. It's dark outside. And also, fun fact, we actually have 4 disasters that we are working right now. This is the 4th.
Wow.
So, we have COVID. Yes, we have COVID. We are still doing quite a bit of work on the Easter Sunday storms, and also the Craighead County tornado that took place in Jonesboro earlier this year.
Wow.
So it has been a very active year for the Emergency Operations Center.
It has been.
Okay, so back to your question.
Sorry, go ahead.
In Sebastian County, no, that's fine. Sebastian County is still, it's like what the National Weather Service has them color coded as a hazardous weather outlook right now, but they're not in any of the flash flood watch, tornado watch, flash flood warning, or tropical storm warning areas that most of the rest of the state is.
Looking at some of these comments here, and I apologize, we're looking at power outages, and we're looking at this flooding potential. Has the Emergency Operations Center gotten any reports of damage, widespread damage, anything like that?
No, not widespread. Like I mentioned earlier, we've taken a couple of reports from several counties, and so far the damage that's being reported is more along the lines of trees down. I know I saw our partners over at RDOT pushed out a tweet not too long ago talking about how a highway that had been closed from a fallen tree in, I believe, Hempstead County was cleared because the tree had been had been cleared out of the road. So.
Well, and as the storm continues to push north, it's always comforting to know that the Emergency Operations Center is open. You guys have been open because of COVID-19, but you guys are now handling 2 emergencies, and you were talking about 4 total, but you're now dealing with Tropical Storm Laura, you're dealing with COVID, and of course you're dealing with other things that are happening across the state.
We are. So a lot of people don't understand, and we're going to play a little more camera go around here. I hope I'm not making your viewers dizzy.
We're actually, just
that,
for those who are joining us, we're looking at a live picture of downtown Little Rock. You see rain in downtown Little Rock right now. So that's what we're looking at.
Oh, good. So one thing that a lot of people tend to not know about us is that we are a 24/7, 365 response and coordination center. So we have duty officers that are on duty 24 hours a day, every single day of the year, and their job is to take calls. And so essentially when the SEOC activates, that's just extending what that response and coordination center, we call it the ARCC, does. So that's just additional people that can take phone calls from our local emergency managers at the county level or at our local county judges. We can take those phone calls from them. Those are the people who are sending us requests for assistance, or also pushing in those damage reports. And then also we do a lot of coordination with other state agencies and the private sector. Yep, sorry about that, Mitch.
It's okay.
Yeah, a lot of work with our folks out in the private sector as well. So we have the coordination center that goes on 24/7 and is always handling some type of emergency or disaster. But the SEOC just kind of extends that. So normally I wouldn't mind taking you actually in the EOC, but we're COVID and trying to keep our face coverings and face masks on and everything. So let's see, I'm taking a look in there. It looks like we've got about 10 additional people plus myself that are staffing the Emergency Operations Center today.
How important is it that you have all the hands possible, but obviously that's important, but you're also in the middle of COVID, so that's got to make things a little difficult.
It does, and so we talked about that. I guess we picked a good day for Laura to kick off. Thursdays are our coordination day, and so that's the day that we have our leadership meetings and our coordination meetings. And so this morning we were kind of joking. We were like, okay, well, this is a good day to have this. Now everyone brief out on COVID first, and then let's move into what you're doing for Laura today.
Yeah. Well, Melody Daniel is in the Arkansas Emergency Operations Center right now. She is watching all of that new data come in across the state. Melody, we do appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I will point out that Melody has graciously volunteered to help us with our coverage here coming up at 7:15 tonight as we kick off our live continuing coverage of this storm. So Melody, we do appreciate your time.
Not a problem. Hey, y'all hang in there. Let me know if you need anything else from me.
All right, Melody. Melody Daniel in Arkansas's Emergency Operations Center. We appreciate it so much. Thank you.